Okay, greetings for this week, very last week of March going into April. Let's see if there are some factors afoot that we might want to follow as we do the dance this week, along with our planetary neighbors. On Monday, actually, even before we get to Monday, we have a longer range, semi-longer range aspect that's already underway, and this is a sextile. You don't normally hear me talking about sextiles, but because this is the outer planets, I'm going to throw it in for our considerations. And this is a sextile between Saturn, moving through Aries, and Pluto up there doing the Aquarian dance. There are factors of structure that Saturn represents, and in Aries, the potential is active or activated, maybe a better way to put this. And the conversation that's happening between Saturn and Pluto up there in Aquarius, the sign of what does it mean to hang with your celestial tribe, so to speak. The influences that Saturn and Pluto are sharing with one another can actually inspire us to accomplish factors of a practical nature, Saturn, which, in Aries is not always the case, but the Plutonian structure of deep and profound foundation that is available to the Saturn desire to do things in a meaningful fashion they're working together. And you may feel, and this aspect lasts from inexact aspect to each other through March 27th through April 4th. They're in that strong sextile. It of course ranges out from before that to after that, but this is in play. I know that during this particular time frame for myself, I have found myself in the process of doing some spring modifications to a neighbor's I want to call it a plantation, but it's really more of a dynamic home structure which I assisted him in the building process of through many years. And we're sprucing up the place, making it, presentable and fixing any of the anomalies that have developed with time. And how this has been transpiring for me has been I've got multiple tasks happening simultaneously, from burning wood material that needed to be burned, to painting, to doing little carpentry repair jobs, and just bouncing from one to the next as certain aspects of each are able to flow with the others transpiring at the same time. Anyway, that's a Saturn-Pluto dance process that can be an inspiration for actually accomplishment that you may not normally be tuned into. It's there. Pay attention to it. On Monday, here we are Monday. Look here, our Venus at 29 degrees, 56 minutes of Aries, which means that on this day, Venus is going to shift out of the Aries dance where, the pressure of, accomplishment, the pressure of, overt expression is going to, chill a bit as Venus slips into its own sign of Taurus on this day, and you can almost feel the exhale of the harmonic Venus flavor as she slips back into the home front of Taurus. The invitation, energetic invitation, when Venus comes into Taurus is to, tune more readily into the experience of participation with this magical, wonderful planetary experience that we live in. After all, Taurus is the sign that invites us to participate with Mother Earth. There's a security in that when we actually take the time to recognize that harmonic interchange of energy between us and all the aspects of us, which is planetary Earth. We're made up of all the same elements, and we're borrowing them for our, Earth walk cycle. And then we're going to return them to Mother Earth to be recomposted, re-energized, reformed into some level of newness. Venus coming back into Taurus is an invitation for us to exhale and allow this process of interchange that we not only have with Mother Earth, but with each other. Because each of us participates in this same dance. We're all borrowing aspects of this earthly material to allow us to move about and hopefully recognize with each step that we take our connection to this place we refer to as home. April 1st comes along, and not to be confused with the April Fool's jokes, we have a full moon on this day over here in Libra at 12 degrees. Are you tuned in to that potential of the celestial dance cycle that every full moon brings about? An exposure to a level of awareness that was initiated at the new moon, which was right there near the end of Pisces. This full moon in Libra is saying, as a reflection, moon reflecting the sun's light, of that solar energy, which is now in Aries, can we engage with each other in a slightly different fashion? If I were to read for you the Sabian symbol for this particular full moon degree, you're going to see what I'm talking about. The symbol reads, children blowing soap bubbles. Excuse me. The cultural fantasies to which young minds dream of perfect fulfillment. The key words: imaginative play. So, are you ready this week for perhaps a bit more playfulness in your daily jaunt? I didn't post a celestial chatter last week, and part of the reason for that was that the unevenness of the political energy that is afoot now on the planet had me tuning in to ways to make an alleviation to that imbalance of our interaction with one another that is playing out globally, instigated by the governance factors, not all of them, here in the United States. It's not the most comfortable experience to be going through right now, having lived in multiple different cultures as I grew up, because my father was with the American Embassy. I got to spend time with people from different places around the globe. Wonderful experiences, exchanging cultural perspectives that I still tune into to this day. And this or that was never of the disparaging perspective that this U.S. government is painting the rest of the world with. Most of the people on this planet are good folks. And there are just a few people in key positions right now that are stirring violently a type of communication that does not recognize this. I got to get off that political thing because it's discomforting to know that our fellow men are in the crosshairs of some focused energy that wants to kill one another. Definitely not a version of humanity that I care to tune into. And yet it is transpiring. Okay, April 2nd. We're through the April Fool's joke time. Mercury has just moved into a trine with Jupiter. I invite you to breathe into Mercury's level of communication from a Piscean perspective, which has depth, a sensate curiosity into more profound meanings for the spiritual trajectory that life has and often puts before us on our trajectory to discover what it means to be a spiritual being. It's in the sign of Pisces, ruled by, you got it, Jupiter, the traditional ruler of Pisces. And Jupiter, what does it mean? It means, what else is there? Don't hold me back. I need more. More of that deep, profound, Piscean mercurial curiosity into a zone of influence that is not necessarily or overtly, what's a good term for this? I was going to say present, but it is present. It's just not an observable presence if one is too hung up on the material aspects of being here on planet Earth to the point where you do not see, are not aware of a more profound meaning for why we are here, which is to grow spiritually, not just materially. Anyway, this trine that exists between Jupiter and Mercury, strong, powerful energy with a tailwind. That's what a trine is. These are energies that are very happy to work together. These are the water signs, and water signs have everything to do with our connection with things, one to another, a recognition of a certain harmonic that is the reason why things are brought together. Jupiter in Cancer, the realm of the ancestors. Are you in tune with what the ancestral messages, which continue to exist, might be trying to awaken you to? On this day, that Mercury-Jupiter trine is inviting you. Ancestors have an awareness, since, for the most part, they exist at a spiritual level. Third day of April. On this day, so here's our Venus down here. 4 degrees, 52 minutes of Taurus. Moving into a square with Pluto up here at 5 degrees, 15 minutes. Because, if you look at the speed of the planets, Venus is moving at 1 degree, 13 minutes a day. Fairly quick. Pluto, 54 seconds a day. So it's kind of like standing still. Venus is ripping along. If you look at all the different planetary movements, the only planet moving faster than Venus is, of course, our moon, which moves about 12 degrees a day. Okay, how do I get rid of this window now? Well, we'll just go over here. Venus coming into a square with Pluto. The potential of this 5th degree of Taurus and Aquarius, earth and air, the Venusian earth sign wants to dynamically experience some level of integration with the ecology, with the environment. Pluto in Aquarius has as one of its functions excavation. Are there things that have been buried out of sight that Pluto, doing its dance through Aquarius, discovers and brings to the surface. This is a part of the excavation that Pluto's about, is uncovering buried things that have been hidden away so that, we're not aware of them. Well, Pluto's function, Lord of the underworld, says, I don't want this stuff down here with me anymore. I'm going to push it up to the surface. Look what I found. And so, might there be, as this square, which is a challenging aspect, things coming into awareness that, could be disruptive or seen as disruptive to the potential for harmony in how we engage with each other in this earth dance process that we are a part of. And from the Aquarian perspective, your celestial tribe, what is being exposed is not just to you or me, it's to the we, to us. Things are coming into our awareness that, why does that exist? And how come nobody has told me about this before? Can you feel the tension there of that square at work here? I'm seeking trust, Venus, in its survival mode of Taurus, in a functional, forward-moving process. And these things are showing up on my doorstep that are substantially disruptive. Can you feel the tension there? They need to be dealt with. I could go into the political side of this, but I'm not going to. This is the weekend we're going into right now. The full moon behind us. As we come to the end of the week, the sun here, 15 degrees, 50 minutes of Aries. Moves into a square with that Jupiter. We're in a definite Aries cycle at the moment. Aries is ruled by Mars. Mars is up here in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. So this potentially tense square energy between the Sun and Jupiter has to include the Martian aspect. Well, the Martian aspect is in Pisces, which Jupiter rules. So there is a potential for ancestral levels of awareness saying to Mars in Pisces, yes, I can almost feel the kind of like an energetic, I'm picturing a dog sitting there waiting to be given permissions to charge forward. Its back feet they're thumping and bouncing, and they're anxious to get ready to go, waiting for the signal. The signal into what? Into a Pisces version of deeper, more profound spiritual awareness, feeding the Aries element, that sun in Aries. Might this be an invitation? Dynamic, potent, energetic, and creatively open to something new, but not necessarily knowing what it is. that could be spirit, putting in an appearance to say, are you paying attention to what it is that the larger container within which we dwell is asking you to participate at a very profound level? Can you feel the Jupiter, Mars, Sun energy at work? All these players and participants trying to find some level of interchange that is going to be a meaningful stepping process forward. That's all I got for this week. Take it, utilize it as you need to. Just be aware that we are all in the process of trying to ferret out a meaningful trajectory forward on more than just this physical level. That's all I got for this week. So be gentle with one another. We have things to do. Thank you. Ciao.